they have to mow over, and the loss and the feeling of, can I get past this? You know, what am I going to have to focus on to get through this? And asking other people's perspectives. You know, how did you deal with this? You know, am I foolish in thinking that this would be a solution or an approach to get past it? What did you do? And is this wrong, or is this a better way of doing it? That to me is amazing. That's better than any kind of book out there, because it's allowing people with real experiences and real issues that you may not have encountered yet, or encountering right now, but you're too afraid to talk about it. You're too afraid to deal with it. You try to hide, turn your face like it's not really there. And that's a problem. You have to just deal with it. You have to meet it head on and don't be afraid of it. And if you fail while trying, that's progress. That's literally progress, because you're going to look back and say, okay, I tried it this way. That didn't work. I tried it that way. That didn't work. Okay, I'm at my wit's end, but I'm not giving up. Let me ask someone else. I want to ask my peers in a like-minded environment where everybody in your community, they're not attacking each other. They're not saying, oh, well, you don't trade our way. Oh, you don't do this. You don't do that. For instance, that guy, I don't know his name. I don't even think he has a name. The other guy that you learn under.
M7.
Um,
M7.
yeah. Yeah, there for a while, his community and my community, they were trying to get some spat going, whatnot. Everybody's got a team mentality. Everybody has a team mentality. Everybody gets their alma mater, behind them, and they want to raise their banner and their flag and all that business. And I'm of the opinion that, listen, if the students have an issue with someone else's methodology and the methodology is making the other group money, they have no argument. There's no argument there. This community, I've never heard anyone in this community say, or at least the ones I've listened to, where they have not been very cordial to one another. And to me, that I have a great deal of respect for that, because number one, that's not selling drama for the sake of selling your brand. It's reassuring that if they have the results using that methodology or any other methodology, they're blooming where they're planted. They don't need to do or do what I do or what I teach. They could give two shits, really. They don't care, because they found something that fits them. And that's all I try to do. I try to cultivate that mindset. Well, whatever it is that you do, you might use just one idea that I have introduced as a school of thought. That doesn't mean I mentored you. That doesn't mean you got to go around and tell everybody I was mentored by ICT and you got to carry me around like a celebrity. I don't want that. In this community, while your your name for the Twitter handle has my name in it, and it's about ICT concepts. It's not predominantly ICT concepts, which that's the direction I want to see. Like, I want to see a departure from me, and I want to see what other people do with the information and how it makes them a better human, a better trader, and not have to always reflect back to me. And you've created an environment where you're allowing that. You're not like a fanboy, which I get it, because if when I was younger at 20 years old, I would have went nuts to meet Larry Williams. Like, I would have went crazy just to meet that guy, because I elevated him up to some unrealistic plateau that no man should be placed to. And I'm the least of which anybody should do that. I'm a terrible teacher. I don't control my tongue well. I'm not a good advocate for Christ because I can't control my tongue, and it's things I struggle with. So there's a lot of things I can check off as a checklist of where my frailties are. So I should not be championed around like most people like to do with me. And I love the fact that you conduct this community in a manner, and I'm glad you're very respectful, because for folks that don't know, I've asked in the interview that Kit and I had, where we talked for a while, I said, listen, I love sitting in and listening. I just don't have another account where I can go in and listen and other people not know I'm there. I don't do sock puppet accounts. I don't do those types of things. But I wish there was a way for me to have had to sit in and never be recognized in there, because I want the people that come forward and talk and be part of your community to pretend I'm not even there. Don't make it about me. Just talk about what it is that you brought yourself there to talk about. And if you want to say something to me, I'm on Twitter, and you can say hi to me. I'll like your post. I'll say something back if I feel like I have to do it. But that setting, that's the part that makes it uncomfortable for me. Like, I don't want to be like that. And you've been very respectful in regards to trying to steer the community members to not do that, because I'm not here to hear people talk about me. And I want people to hear it from me in your community that I love it when you don't talk about me and you just talk about your experience. I'm genuinely interested, much as like I said when you were talking to me in the Zoom live. I have a genuine, sincere interest in other people's experiences. Like that's what I want. I want to spend the rest of my life after November watching and observing and looking at seeing what everybody else is doing. I have a genuine interest in it. It's a sincere interest that I don't have to monetize. I don't have to have my name brought up about it. I just want to see what everyone does with it, because I'll be blessed by that by default. I don't need to have someone, you know, parading around and advertising me. And I think you've done an amazing job of managing your community in that regard, and still making an allowance and an inviting atmosphere for other people with different approaches to trading, where they can feel like, sometimes they'll open up and say, well, I don't trade with what you guys use, but this is what I do. But I like the community. That's exactly what you've done. You've created that atmosphere where normally someone might not go to a like a live streamers or a podcast um, event or venue, because they're very team oriented. They're this and only this. That kind of causes someone to feel standoffish and say, well, if I go out there, they're probably going to try to pin me down and ask me why I don't want to subscribe to their view and what makes their methodology better. And that just creates an argument that no one can win, because no one would convince me that what I use isn't better than everything else, when I know personally that I think that there's nothing else better than this. But when people hear me say that, and they're either learning or they're using something that's profitable for them, they tap into that team mentality. They want to go back to college football. Well, my team's going to kick your team's ass in the playoffs, or I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. It's your NASCAR driver. It's your whatever the hell it is, your MMA fighter. It's this team mentality. I can't stand that. Like, I literally cannot stand it. And I try to smash that with everything I say. And even when I talk about myself, I don't want any of that stuff in my community. And I think that you've done a more effective way of managing it and allowing for an immersion experience where no one can feel alienated. I mean, I love when you put your foot down and people are in here fucking off. You hear them talking about, yeah, I've done this and I've done that. And I never lose a trade. I think it was a couple spaces ago. I almost pissed myself. The guy's like, yeah, I do this and I do this and I haven't ever a losing trade. And you're like, okay, hold on. What you're telling me is you never win. I'm sorry, you never lose and you always win. Get the fuck out of here. That's what you do. That's exactly, you got to broom that bullshit. But everything else, you're very, very good at managing the the atmosphere for everyone else to feel comfortable. So if you want to come on and you want to talk bullshit, good. Call it what it is, broom it, get rid of it. But you've allowed for people to have a ulterior perspective or alternative perspective and not feel, at least from my observation, I wouldn't feel uncomfortable. Nothing was cringy about it, where another style or approach to trading that the members would come forward in the community, or maybe it was their first visit. And they always thanked you that you've allowed for this medium in this community for people to come together and meet. And I think that you should be recognized for that, because what you're doing, this community in the industry itself needs more of this type of stuff. And you conduct yourself very, very well. Um, and you've done a very effective job of allowing for the open invitation for people to come forward. And I think more people should be here.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for those flowers, Michael. Thank you so much for the acknowledgement, the recognition. And I want you to know, and I want anybody and everyone that's listening, like, a lot of this is, I mean, I'm 45, I turn 46 in a few weeks, right? And a lot of this very similar to things that you've said throughout your episodic life's work that you've pushed out there when I was 20, or if I could, if I could go back in time, like I really do look at the 20-year-old who's listening